What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I'm your host, Terry DeRon.
And I'm your co-host, Jay Bible.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about rumors and reputations. Two things that can have a real big impact on a relationship or a dating experience. But before we get into that, we like to start off the podcast with a segment that we call Terry's Top 3, where we basically highlight the most popular or most controversial posts from my Instagram page at Terry DeRon. So this week we got a couple of very interesting posts lined up. The first post that we're going to be talking about is a video that was sent to me it was sent by a couple of different followers, but it talks about women and how they feel about restaurants and dates. Let's take a listen.
When did you people start getting too cool to go to Red Lobster? Give you a story. Me and this girl, we going out. I said, yo, would you like to go out to eat? She said, yeah. I said, what do you want to eat? She says, it doesn't matter. You pick. All right? I picked Red Lobster. And when I picked Red Lobster, the entire night she had a fucking attitude. And I was asking, I said, why you had an attitude? She's like, because you ain't creative and you took me to a chain restaurant instead of a nice restaurant. Let me say something. When the fuck did Red Lobster not become nice? When did you start fronting on Cheddar Bay biscuits? When did you say to yourself, you know what, seafood is expensive. Do you know how much shrimp is per pound? Do you know? It's $19.99 a pound. Maybe it's not, but that's not the point. Seafood is expensive. And I don't appreciate the fact that this girl decided that she says, you know what, I got an attitude and ruined the whole date because I picked.
All right, now, he has a very good point. Right now, there are a couple of different things that about the scenario that he described, but just in general, women have this really big problem with placing an astronomical amount of value on where a man takes them on a date. They use it to make positive judgments about a guy and end up with a fuckboy, and they use that to negatively view a lot of quality men. The location of a date is not important. You can have a date anywhere. It could just be sitting in the car, drinking some shakes, or eating.
Exactly. Y'all can go to Harry for what it's worth. Y'all can go to Starbucks.
Exactly. Like, it's about your one-on-one time with the person that you're dating. It does not matter where it's at. It could be, you could be sitting on some steps outside of somebody's apartment. Ice cream man come by, y'all eat some ice cream outside and just talk. It's about one-on-one engagement where you have their undivided attention. But unfortunately, a lot of women place this value on where they took me, where we went on the first date. They have a problem with Netflix and chill or going to a guy's house to hang out or spend time with them. And it causes this paradigm shift in how women view dating. Like, it causes them to have this warped perception. Okay, so this man asked the woman where she wanted to go. She ain't have no suggestions. She ain't give no restrictions, no nothing. So he chooses a place that.
That was the thing. I was saying, I think, I think that's a flawed dating standard or perspective that, said, okay, so if he's a better quality guy if he takes, let's just say Chris Root's Steakhouse.
Yeah, I mean, it has, where you go for a first date has nothing to do with whether or not the person is a quality person and whether or not you are compatible with them.
There's no kind of correlation there whatsoever.
Right. Now, you may be
able... a lot of times, I think, even in the initial dating stage, when you go take a look for, let's just say, the most expensive or fanciest restaurant in town, a lot of times, she ain't going to expect to do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's unnecessary.
To say thank you and keep moving, they may not even be a second date after that.
Yeah, unless you just a wealthy person, eating at the most expensive restaurant in town is not really practical. That's something that most people do on special occasions and an anniversary. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not where they just go on a random first date. Now, if it says a lot about a person or a woman in particular if she can go to a restaurant. I'm not talking about a fast food joint, but I'm talking about a regular, decent sit-down restaurant, and she can't find nothing that she can eat. Like,
Right.
if she's a vegan, if she's a vegetarian, if she has something special about her diet, that should be discussed prior to going on the date. Right?
Right.
But if you don't have any restrictions on where you go, you tell them you don't care, and then you go to a restaurant where you can't eat nothing. You can't eat no chicken fingers. You can't eat a steak. You can't eat nothing. No fish. No nothing. You that picky where you can't find nothing. That most restaurants have a wide variety of different things that you can choose from.
Yeah.
And
Especially
even
like
if you
chain
can't,
restaurants,
you can just get something to drink. Like, that's not the purpose. You can't judge me on how well I feed you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. I mean, the thing is, she said she don't care. She's like, it doesn't matter, take it. But he said whatever. So he chose somewhere, and she had a problem with it. So then you should have just said, okay, I don't eat at whichever restaurant.
Right. Instead of having an attitude.
I don't care means we can go
anywhere.
Pretty much no limit on where I can take you to.
Yeah, but the way that the woman responded, so not only did you have specific idea of what type of place you wanted to go to, you choose to handle the situation in a passive aggressive manner, having an attitude over where you went to eat. When you have the opportunity to select outright, and you still have the opportunity to reject where you were going or give your input on it. So this particular woman that he's describing in the video, I don't think would be worth dating anyway. But this just reflects something that I see a lot of women doing. They place value on where a man takes them or what they do on a date, and completely miss the whole point of going on a date. You know what I mean? Like, so hopefully women can tone this down a little bit, scale this back, and start focusing on the quality of your interaction. What were they talking about? Were they asking you questions? Were they paying attention to what you said? You know what I'm saying? Like, those type of things are way more significant.
Going out on, like, let's just say, a nice restaurant on the first day. I mean, honestly, that's a luxury item. That's something you need to do.
Yeah, I don't think you need to go on a nice, super fancy place either. Like, go somewhere that there's alcohol available. You can get some appetizers, like a place like Outback or Olive Garden or something. On a date, you're going to spend around $60, $70. I think that's reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think a man should have to spend $200 to take a chick out on a date. Like,
I mean, honestly, I think you should keep it between $50 to maybe $70 at the most.
Yeah, I mean,
that first date.
Guys have different strategies on what they like to do on first dates. Dinner is always a decent choice, but I prefer doing things where we get to have fun. Dave and Buster, something where we can compete a little bit. I can see, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can just, I get more out of interactive dates like that than just sitting across from you, having an interview.
Right. Or you can go to the museum or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, but the unfortunate part is there are a lot of women that will judge a man and cut off a man for where he chose to take her on a date, which I think is...
And I think a lot of times what's going to happen is they're not going to get cooperation from quality dudes. You'll have some buck boy or some dude who's just like a trick that'll take you to these expensive restaurants. And someone to do it for I think someone to do it for validation or something. They go back and tell their friends or something like that. Yeah, this dude took me to this fancy restaurant here.
They wanna be able to post the plate on the gram and shit like that. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? But
all the instant gratification from it.
Right. I mean, but none of that is more relevant than the quality of the person that you are on the date with and your level of compatibility with them. Like, you can have an awesome date at the Waffle House, or it doesn't matter where you at. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you with somebody where y'all laughing, joking, the conversation is flowing, it could be any restaurant. And even if the food is bad, you can still have an awesome date with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, so, like I said, it's a disproportionate amount of value that they place on where we go on a date and how luxurious they feel the date is. Because this also sets them up to get taken advantage of by fuckboys, which I say all the time. Because if you're a fuckboy, you can just take the sacrifice. Hey, I'm just going to take these hoes out on a fancy date, and that's going to be my game plan. And it'll work for a lot of women because they will view you so positively. They'll come up with all these positive assumptions simply because you took them somewhere nice on the first date, or somewhere they got a favorable or positive reaction out of her. All right, let's see. Let's move on to the next post. Now, this post was one that a couple people tagged me in that really actually caught me off guard. Now, this was a post where Denzel Washington and his wife celebrated 35 years of marriage. And Denzel was asked, what was the key to your relationship success? And his response was, I do what I'm told and keep my mouth shut. That's the headline. Now, that statement or that headline clearly does not represent what it takes to have a healthy long-term relationship. So, my initial impression upon reading the quote was he had to be joking or had to provide some other kind of context on what he was saying. Like, he didn't just say that. Right, because Denzel Washington, by all accounts, appears to be a stand-up guy. He's very articulate. He's very intelligent. And so I can't imagine him just saying, being that type of weak husband, first of all. And then I can't imagine him giving some kind of whack explanation like that for having 35 years of marriage. That's why I assume that he was joking, right? Because no man that is a millionaire, that is that desired by other celebrities and other women, is going to be in a position where he has to just shut up and be in a subservient role and do what he's told in order to have a healthy relationship. You know what I mean? Like, that is an unhealthy relationship. And the thing is, there were so many women that were trying to argue with me against this post because I said, if that's what a man has to do in order to keep the peace in his relationship, he's in a dysfunctional marriage. And it's very unlikely that he's truly happy. Right? But, and I also said, I think the reaction would have been drastically different if his wife had said, oh, I just shut up and do what I'm told. If a woman said that she had to just shut up and do what she's told, I think the feminist movement and all these different people would have had a major problem with that. Because it suggests that the person is being, not necessarily abused, but they're in a situation where they're being intimidated or they're not able to freely express themselves, which is a key component of a healthy, happy relationship. Like, if you can't voice your concerns to your spouse, if you can't talk about issues that you have, even if it's with something that they're doing, then that's not a healthy relationship. If there's fear, if there's going to be repercussions to you voicing your opinion, all those type of things are things that we talked about when we talk about our the episode we did on abuse. You know what I mean? Those are things that abusive people do to their partner. They make it to where they're afraid to speak out and can't express themselves, etc. So if somebody's actually in a relationship where they are forced to just shut the hell up and do what you told, that is a very unhealthy situation to be in.
Right.
And I don't think any of the women that were arguing would want their daughters to be in a situation where they had to do that.
Now when you posted it onto your page, right?
Yeah, I reposted.
Now, how would the comments in that? How would women comment in that one?
Man, a lot of silliness. You know, there were some women that recognized that he was joking and mentioned that he wasn't serious. In the article, he elaborated. But there were also a lot of women that were like, man, that's Denzel Washington. You just mad because he's married for 35 years. You just jealous because he's rich. Like, so there are women that despite how silly and very obvious that he's joking to most people, there are still women that are willing to treat it like it was actual advice. because it's putting them in a position of power. And we've seen historically that women will support anything that they feel gives them an advantage over a man, even especially if it's the man is suffering on her behalf. So I'm not really surprised by that kind of attitude, but that's clearly not what it takes to have a healthy relationship for anybody. Anybody, it don't matter if you're a same-sex relationship. Part of having a healthy relationship with another person is being able to express yourself when you have problems or issues.
Being able to and being able to
and not only that,
and have
and
find some resolution to it.
Yeah, you not only are you able to express yourself
with your significant other says, you just I just do what I'm told.
Right. I mean, but you should be able
to do what I say. Like you said,
a dictatorship.
It's not that's usually an unhealthy relationship.
Right. You should be able to express your thoughts and feelings to your spouse and have a genuine belief that they're going to actually listen and care. Because if you pouring your heart out to your spouse and they don't give a fuck, you in the wrong relationship too. Like, if you were somebody that don't give a fuck about your well-being, don't give a fuck about your feelings, don't take your thoughts and your feelings into consideration, then you are with the wrong person. It's a major red flag. That is not how quality men operate. Quality men want women that they can discuss things with, that they can make plans with, that they feel confident can manage things if something happened to him. So he wants a woman that is involved with the decision making. Not somebody that he can just control. A man that wants a woman that he can dictate and control is an abusive man.
Right.
I mean, you're never going to hear...
a man that's very insecure at that.
Right. I mean, if you got to intimidate your woman and threaten her and restrict her thoughts, and that's weak. That's a sign of weakness and, like you said, insecurity. Because that's not how quality men operate. Now, this next post that I want to talk about was a post that was something that I reposted from Derek Jackson. Now, this was a post that said, I think we, men, can learn a lot from women by learning how to properly listen. Ignore the feeling of being offended, that's ego. Resist the temptation for rebuttal, that's pride. Abandon the desire to be right, that's ignorance. And simply listen. And then it says, just a thought. Now, I commented that I thought that caption and that quote applied more to women in the way that they treat men
I agree with that.
more than it applies to how men treat women. And the reason that I said that is because men are forced to listen by women by nature. Even when we don't want to hear the shit, we got to listen to them. Voice what they think, what they feel, how they felt, why they felt that way, what they intuition told them.
I think it's still weird because I think there are other things like with that. I think women tend to just want to, respond. You're giving her, what you feel about a situation, and trying to get a solution. And her first thing is a lot of times is just to rebut what you're saying,
interrupt you. Oh, you're lying. You're making an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all dealt with that. Every man has dealt with that before.
You're being disrespectful. I'm offended.
Right. Lower your voice. Like, you hear all that is one of the things that women are extremely talented at. Most women are black belts at deflecting conversation. And when you deflecting conversation, that means you're not listening. Right? So this entire post was about the importance of listening. It said, don't listen with the rebuttal in mind. Something that women constantly do. Men do it too. Just have to have a rebuttal, have to have the last word. Right? So this describes what we see in women way more than we see it in men. And so I commented that on his post, and as predictable, got a lot of negative reactions, a lot of women that are, implying that I'm jealous of Derek and all kind of foolishness. Like, all kind of, just so now I agree. A quality man is going to listen to his woman. I just stated. He does not want somebody that he can control or just tell what to do. He wants somebody that has a valuable opinion. But to imply that men are the ones that are not doing listening, fuck boys have to listen to women in order to figure out what's going to work on them, what they like, what they don't like, what they past experiences have been. So if the lowest men on the totem pole have to listen to women in order to have any success, that means all men have to listen to women. There isn't a man that can just ignore everything a woman's telling him and have success with her.
Because it's like, I say this and I talk about it, like, if you don't need quality men that, when a woman's so big, trying to, constantly interrupt her in the middle of sense, trying to deflect the conversation, not listening. Do you know any quality guys like that?
No, I mean, what's frustrating from the male perspective, because what the male experience is when a man's in an argument or a discussion with a woman, more often than not, he has to listen to her go on a rant or voice her opinion that involves assumptions, feelings that she treats like facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, blatantly false statements about him, what he thought, what he felt, etc. And he has to wait until he gets the opportunity to talk to be able to rebut those things that were false, that those assumptions she used to, and you don't give a fuck because you did this. And if you like, and so it's like, how you gonna tell me what I care about just because I did this? How, you know what I'm saying? Like, a man can have a perfectly logical explanation for something and still struggle to get his point across just because women struggle to listen that much. It is, I mean, I'm an expert in communication. And when I go live with my wife, my followers see how she interrupts me and overtalks me and cuts me off. They can, this is an ex, but fortunately, I'm able to let her get her thought out, and then I can go back and rebut the things that were assumptions. I can recall things that she said that were false that I want to address. And so I'm able to go back and correct all the inaccuracies that are thrown at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't care. You was just mad because of this. All these type of things that women tell men. We see women come on my page every day telling men what we think and feel. Not listening, not absorbing the male insight, coming to the page that's supposed to be giving the male insight and telling us what we think and feel and what we experience. So the idea that men are the ones that need to listen to women more is ludicrous to me. I can make a very strong argument how that is very, very inaccurate. You know what I mean? But we're all entitled to think what we think. Now, the thing is, what he said in the post is accurate. You can learn a lot from listening to a woman. You can learn a lot from just listening to somebody without trying to interrupt them. Like, I think most men have to be able to do. You know what I mean? Like, that is a very good way to learn something. But to make it seem like that's the missing piece of relationship success is very inaccurate in my opinion. So that kind of sparked some controversy and the typical social media drama when you have your naysayers trying to pitch you against someone else or whatever, especially when it's somebody that they really, really like Derrick Jackson. Let's see, what was the that was all three of the posts, man. That went by real quick. I thought I thought we had more to talk about as far as posts go. Well, looks like we can keep the ball moving a little bit and move into the topic of the night. So I wanted to address the topic of rumors and reputation. You know, we see in social media and in public in general, there are always rumor reports, such and such as cheating, such and such as getting divorced, all type of rumors. And rumors can have a profound impact on a relationship because, as we see, a lot of people struggle with trust issues and insecurities already. And so we have an epidemic of people that are going through phones and trying to find evidence of cheating and doing all these things on a regular basis, everyday type of behavior. And so when you have rumors, when you have whispers or people saying certain things, especially if you're dating somebody that's popular or famous or something to that effect, that can cast a lot of doubt on a relationship. And it can increase the tension and stress in a relationship as well. Because some rumors are impossible to defend yourself against. They're impossible to prove that, like, there's a rumor out that you gay. How do you prove you're not gay? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, how do you, is there any way that you can prove that you're not gay? Nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so these
all you can really do is just deny it.
Yeah, I mean, you can deny it, you can do things like that, but that's not going to stop a rumor from about you, especially if there's some things that are suspect, like some photos or some text exchange or something to that effect. Then people are going to form their own opinions about you based off of rumors. You know what I mean? And so it can really make or break a relationship depending on the maturity level of the people involved and how confident they are in themselves and in the relationship. And like I said, a lot of people got trust issues, so all it takes is one small thing to create a major rift in a relationship. You know, just simply because, man, that possibility of it being true. You know, a chick posting something saying she's fucking your man. Man, the fact that it could be true drive a lot of women crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and a lot of times there's no way to prove or verify what happened in the past. Sometimes receipts come. Sometimes you can get hotel pictures and things of that nature, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes all a person has is what they say or the accusations that they can throw at you. And so, you know, public relation firms and PR people, they spend a lot of money trying to deal with these things because it can have a major impact on your business, on your career, you know what I'm saying, like, and on your relationships as a whole. When we talking about reputations, the definition of a reputation is the beliefs or opinions that are commonly held about someone. So having a reputation to overcome or deal with can be very overwhelming too, you know, because a reputation can be positive or negative. Kim Kardashian, for a lot of people, she has a very negative reputation. You know what I'm saying? Like a very negative public persona or a view of her because of her sex tape, because of, you know, her family being so heavily into social media and reality TV, the popularity she's garnered without having to hold anything that we can really call a talent. So there are a bunch of different reasons that she's viewed negatively by a lot of people, and she's a target. Now, a lot of that is self-inflicted. She makes herself a target, posing herself naked and posting stuff that makes her look like a thought or whatever. You know what I mean? Like something.
I think with them is there's no such thing as bad publicity. And I'm pretty sure you've heard that one before, being a communications based. So,
yeah, I mean, some people say that
anything to be relevant, and they do that stuff. So just like we're talking about this on talking about her on this show. So anything something like that, they'll do.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes it more difficult to date that type of person because
it absolutely does.
Yeah, because a lot of dating decisions are based off reputation. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's very smart to do. Like if you're dating a man that has a reputation of beating women, that's a major thing that needs to be investigated. Right. Whether you have to do a background check. Yeah, that's like so sometimes that you could have a rumor about a person having an STD, having kids, like you could have anything could really be part of their reputation. You know, they got a reputation for you meet a chick that had a lot of abortions or like whatever the case may be. So dealing with somebody's reputation really has a lot to do with the size of the city that you're in. If you're in a big city, it's not. And as long as they're not a celebrity or something really famous, it's not that big of a deal.
Kind of another number.
Yeah, but when you're in a small town where everybody know each other and you know everybody's siblings and all that, reputations and rumors and those type of things have an exponential impact on the people involved because it's such a small group of people that you're talking about. And the rumors spread quicker. The reputations mean more, so those type of things.
Right.
Can,
like in a big city like where we have to, like, I guess the rumors stays more or less within that area, within that kind of immediate area. Like I said, the small city, it's easier for it to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, well, typically the way it works is when you a kid in middle school and high school, it's a school related thing, and the socialness of the school, the football team, track team, etc. Everything is kind of centered around your relationship as students. But when kind of the same once you go to college as well. Your social circles, frats, whatever, sororities, etc., are how the social structure is set up. And so reputations and things like that can make or break you in those type of social environments. For a guy, having a reputation for, not necessarily being a player, but being a good pussy eater or slanging dick or being the type of dude that fuck a lot of women. Those type of things, your reputation precedes you when you meet a lot of people. And for some it's gonna help, for some it's gonna hurt you. But that reputation is something that a lot of people put a lot of weight into. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of people are so adamant about protecting their reputation and their name, because you don't want people to be viewing you negatively or have some dirt on your name that really ain't warranted. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have people talking shit about you or saying something about you or your family, or perhaps that paint you in a bad light if it's not accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, now there are some things that you just have to keep private for legal reasons or other cases, but for the most part, most people are, at least to some degree, they put an active effort into making sure that they don't have a bad reputation. Most women don't want to be known as being hoes and don't want to have a reputation as being a slut, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And I would think that guys are the same way. You don't want to be known as a lame or a trick or you know what I'm saying?
Tricks.
You don't want
have those kind of labels.
Negative labels attached to your name can really do you some. It could be a tough battle overcoming the reputations. I mean, and to be honest, for a long time, just being smart or being a nerd was a negative thing. At least I had to overcome that. There's a bunch of chicks that curbed me because they was like, man, you was a nerd in class, you was too smart. You know what I'm saying? So they would hold that against me. So having a reputation can hurt you no matter, even if it's something that you see as positive.
That's good.
Right. I've had women that be like, man, I like you and everything, but it's too many other chicks that want to fuck with you, so I don't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. And it's flattering, you know what I'm saying? But you got to respect it. Some women can't handle other competition and things of that nature. So it's a matter of preference, but you have to be. This is why it's important to monitor what you do on your social media. You know what I'm saying? Because that plays a large part into how your reputation is formed.
Right.
Like
you see, you see all the time, women get, hundreds, thousands of followers based on, because they're attractive, they get that,
yeah.
They're taking pictures in their bra and panties.
Yeah, that type of stuff gets you a lot of attention, gets you a lot of love, gets you a lot of comments, also creates a reputation about you too. You know what I'm saying? Like how you portray yourself to the public, especially on social media, matters. Whether you think it should or not is really irrelevant, but it does. And it's the same way for a man. Like women can say stuff, it shouldn't matter, you shouldn't care, but it does matter. If you go to a dude's page and he got all kind of crazy shit, or he live a crazy lifestyle, you're less likely to go on a date with him or be interested in him. So what a person posts about themselves can absolutely have an impact on how a person views you and whether or not they're willing to date you or spend time with you.
Right. Especially for somebody you don't know.
Yeah, it's different if you've been knowing somebody and you just
if you know the person,
but
somebody you went to school with or work with, whatever the case may be.
But a lot of people, the first thing they do is when they meet somebody new is go to their Facebook and try to find out their Instagram and their Twitter or whatnot, so they can get an idea of what they think, how they operate. Are they lame? Like you can go to somebody's their Instagram page and look at their profile pic and then look at they last 5 or 6 pictures and think they weird as hell. You can tell that they're not somebody you would really get along with. Those things are real. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh damn, she cute, but she awkward as hell. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure every guy's done seen chicks like that where you saw the picture, somebody tagged her in it, you clicked on it, you're like, damn. All she do is post cupcakes and fucking, you know what I'm saying, like hand drawings. And so your perception of that person changes from being positive to being like, oh damn, they awkward and weird. Yeah, you know, like so. We all do that. We all use the information that we have available to make at least partial judgments about people before we finalize them once we actually get to know them and at least interact with them on a small scale. You know what I mean? But the way that a lot of people put themselves out there to the public shoots them in the foot before they ever really date. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of dudes that they DMs don't get answered because she clicked on your profile and your shit had you set off the red flags for the weirdo alert. You know what I mean? Like so they would have a chance to possibly get with her. Like they probably handsome enough. They probably meet other criteria that she may have, but the way they presented themselves put them out the game before the first quarter. Like they came in the wrong uniform.
Presentations, everything.
Yep, they showed up to the game in the wrong uniform and didn't get to play it out. Like that's just the reality of it. That's how it goes sometimes when it comes to making first impressions. And that's why it's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like it's easier to have a good impression or a good reputation that precedes you because it can be very difficult or impossible to overcome a bad one. So people have to be cognizant of how people treat reputations, rumors, and things of that nature so that you don't put yourself in a position where you miss out on somebody's quality or you ruin a good situation over something that was minor, small, or not really that significant or important. Do you have something else you wanted to add before we get out of here, Jay?
No, I think you pretty much touched on it.
All right, well, it looked like that's been another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you share the episode, tell your friends about it. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for